you basically see it. This is going to be like, well, it's almost like, you probably don't see it like this, the two different classes of people. If you're vaccinated or if you're unvaccinated, you have all these rights. If you are vaccinated...
That is what it is, so yep.
What do you think we came here for? What do you think it was that made us decide that we needed our voices heard in this place? And if the tables were turned, what would have made you do what we did? What cause would have inspired you to make your stand?
My name is Susan. I'm from Christchurch.
My name is Andrew from the Bay of Plenty.
William from Central Hawke's Bay.
My name's Jordan. I am a mother and a beautician.
My name is Sunia. I'm born and bred in Auckland. I'm from the healthcare sector, frontline ambulance officer, 6 years.
I am Mike from Auckland. Grew up here, spent most of my life overseas, and then came back about 5 years ago. Felt a real call to come back here, didn't know why. I think maybe it was this.
My name's Sue Gray. I do lots of things. I'm a mother of 3. I'm an adventurer. I'm a lawyer.
I've been in various occupations. I've been a business owner, served my community, volunteer firefighter, volunteer ambulance officer.
I'm a beauty therapist. I do cosmetic tattooing. I like to help people, so I love that job.
I was a primary healthcare nurse for 22 years and I lost my job when they mandated the COVID vaccination.
I'm from Gisborne, East Coast, and I was mandated out of adult intellectual disabilities.
Well, I was part of the first lot that got affected by the mandates. I absolutely felt alone. Some of them gave me a call and started being nasty and calling me an idiot and said I was a conspiracy theorist and all this stuff.
To put it plain and simple, I saw it as you hired me to stand up for those that can't speak for themselves, and then you fired me for speaking up for me.
It's ridiculous. Where did we go so wrong? That you have to go and fight for people who are getting bullied for not taking medication.
I was mandated out of 2 careers, but the wake up was what happened to my child. At 19 years old, she was mandated out of 4 things that were precious to her, and I watched her go from being alive and on fire for this world to absolutely broken by this world.
This was not a river of filth. This was doctors, nurses, professional people, tradesmen. This was a cross-section of all New Zealanders.
I'm pretty sure we didn't look like criminals. I didn't feel like a criminal. I felt like I was doing the right thing, and I still believe to this day I was doing the right thing. I don't think that'll ever change.
So I was studying psychology and anthropology. The papers that I took when I was waking up and trying to fight for my family, one was social psychology, which I was learning about obedience and groupthink, and the other paper was all about New Zealand protest and how voices were silenced. That was literally the essay that I had to do, literally diving into how voices are silenced while I was looking up around me and watching it happen in real time. So I welcomed the convoy. I was one of the people on the bridges, and it was amazing. I just remembered like how excited we were to feel so connected to these complete strangers. And for most of us, there was this isolation or this feeling of being alone in your understanding and what you were seeing. And so when you got connected with people who understood the same thing as you actually felt seen and not crazy. There is this understanding of seeing past the veil, like you know that something needs to be done. Nobody knew it was going to turn into Parliament. Nobody had any idea what it was going to bloom into. I just knew that follow.
I just wanted to tell Alistair that they're stopping. No, they're going through.
So as said before, if you're hungry, go and take a break and have a beautiful feed from the beautiful people in Napier. They put on a great spread for us all. So go down and thank them all for standing in the rain for us. Bye-bye.
So I baked rice bubble cake the night before, and I painted my car up. I put People Power on the back of it, and then I picked up my friend Shelley and we joined it just out of Takaroa, and we stood on the side of the road in the howling rain and the smiles on our faces. I mean, there's been a lot of sayings that I haven't really understood until this part of my life, and one of them is you cannot dampen our spirits. The rain had no effect, and we were soaked to the bone.
Gosh, that experience was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, and it still makes me emotional when I think about that day. I was just going to my unvaccinated netball game, where all the unvaccinated netballers that weren't allowed to play their leagues anymore would get together, and they turned up and they're all so excited. They're like, something's going on, something big is happening. There's thousands of people out everywhere, they're all over the bridges. And I was like, guys, it's the convoy. And it's all about the mandates. And I just said, I was thinking about going. And they were like, we'd go, but we've got kids, or I've got to do this, but you can go. Yeah. I was like, played the netball game, and everyone's like, see ya. Yeah, I didn't sleep much that night. I just packed a bag. I packed for a few days. I had no idea what was going on.
We were all unsure, basically. We didn't know what to expect. So as we left that day, there was 4 of us, and we really felt as though we were like the only 4 going from Gisborne. It was literally like a sneak out of town type thing.
So I joined in Kawakawa, and I thought I'll just go to Whangarei. And then by the time we got to Whangarei, I was like, oh my God, this is happening. Like, people were like there waving their flags, and I was like, okay, I've got to go.
And we got to Taupo, and it was incredible. There were just people everywhere, signs and enthusiasm, and suddenly it was almost like the Pied Piper was pulling us to Wellington.
And it was just all go from there. We arrived in Napier, and because the horse truck was so big, people started arriving thinking that we were in charge. So they just started loading food. We're talking copious amounts. The back of the horse truck was full. It was people saying, this is my contribution. You guys are doing this to keep our businesses alive. There was just so much thanks and gratitude.
It was like this massive release of all the trauma that had happened for everyone. Whether you were a kid who'd missed out on sport, or the people who had lost their jobs or lose their mortgage.
In every little town you went through, there were just people just cheering and encouraging and saying, thank you all so much. It was just like, wow, this is New Zealand. I think they were cheering that somebody was doing something to stand up for their rights, that finally something was happening, because people had had enough and they'd given up almost in despair for their future and for their families and for their businesses. Finally it was like, yeah, this is it, it's happening.
And it was one town, there was a young girl and she had a huge sign saying, I'm doing this for my sister that's died. And Anna said to me, Mum, look at that sign. That really just hit home, the reason why we were doing it. We were doing it for every other person that had lost their jobs, their homes, everything. It was fighting for everyone. And for my daughter, that at the time was only 10,
She was like, they're standing there for us. And she's like, we have to go and we have to keep going, Mum.
I think relief would probably be a big word for a lot of people, to find out that you're not alone and to find out that there's thousands of other people that think the same that you do. I think people were just happy and relieved to know that they weren't alone in the fight.
They didn't never show the truth, you know, they just wanted to paint one narrative of that we had no support, and then we were just a small group of people that were conspiracy theorists and crazy loopy people. That was far from the truth, you know, or there was a small contingent of people that gathered at New Plymouth. Well, no, there wasn't. It was like a massive welcoming parade, and all they kept saying was thank you, thank you, thank you, to make it known, to make us be seen, to have a voice.
Just the love and support from New Zealanders, the amount of it, like they talk about us like we're the minority, but that day showed that we're not the minority. People were outside their houses for hours, not really knowing if this convoy was going to come through just after 6 or just after 8. And whole families, all different walks of life, throughout that whole day, all the thousands of people, tens of thousands of people that I seen, I probably seen 2 people either giving the fingers or telling us to go home. And to me, that's like, holy shit, there's a lot of people supporting this. It was massive. And that's what makes me so emotional, that I was actually a part of something that was so powerful, and that New Zealand was right behind.
Wow. This is how you unite a nation. For the last 2 years, New Zealanders have been told to be kind. We've been told we're a team, but every team requires leadership. What kind of leader thinks it is okay to encourage bullying in 2 classes of society?
The media and the government will have us believe that those of us supporting this convoy represent a small fringe minority. They label us with derogatory names in an attempt to divide families, friends, workplaces, and divide society in general. Well, I got news, they've failed.
In just over a week, multiple groups have come together and united under a common goal: freedom. It's about your kids who can't play their favourite sport. It's about family members who have been excluded from family gatherings. And it's about people who have been forced and coerced into a medical procedure just to keep their job, to pay the bills and feed their families.
A leadership that stood on solid footing would not fear the people it serves. They would not be afraid of debate. So for any of you up there that are listening, I challenge you to come out and address these good people. Or does your contract with Pfizer trump your duty of service to the people who put you in office?
So, we're all here. This is our opportunity. I invite everybody to stop hiding, stop being afraid, and be the biggest you. Celebrate everything about yourself that makes you so special, that gave you the courage to stand and unite. Let's start celebrating our humanity. Let's start celebrating New Zealand. We've seen it over the last few days. The Kiwi spirit is live and strong. There is one group trying to crush it, and we have had enough.
You know, looking back on it, the first day there was probably a lot more energy and people almost felt a lot more built up after coming along with a convoy and seeing so much support. You know, this is the time that the government was going to come out and talk to us, and we weren't going to leave until they had. They had taken away freedoms from people that didn't want the vaccine. They had destroyed people's lives who had lost jobs, lost homes, lost people who had actually died. And it was heartbreaking to see the government hadn't recognised them. How can you have people in government sit there and just say, well, actually, these didn't happen. And then for the media to turn around and call you a conspiracy theorist if you say it. They just insult you because they don't have an answer back for it, and they don't want to look at it. What if it had been someone from your family? How can someone knowingly change the story to fit their narrative when you have people fighting for what we were fighting for? It's hard to see where they're coming from. The fact that you're taking away meaning from people who have had serious loss, how can they just stand idle by and not want to be a part of the solution?
Everyone, please link arms. We stand together in unity, peace, and love, because we want our freedom and rights back. We want our country back. We don't want deception. We don't want lies.
Put your phones down and link arms, people!
We want the truth. So the mainstream media, you're more than welcome to come down here and film everybody that's coming together, linking arms and unity and love, because we want the truth. The nation needs to know the truth. Please tell the truth.
We were violent last night. There was no violence. There was in the newspaper saying that we were violent. There was a picture of a big crowd.
Let's not retaliate. That's exactly what we're wanting. We remain in unity and love.
I'm here for unity, solidarity.
All prayer warriors, we need you to pray now, please.
I'm here for all the children.
Prayer warriors, we need you to pray.
Where did you come from?
Whangarei.
You come all the way from Whangarei?
Yep.
God of nations at my feet. Louder. In the arms of love we meet. Hear our voices we entreat. God defend our free land. God Pacific's triple star, from the shafts of strife and war, make her praises heard afar. God defend New Zealand. Men of every creed and race, gather here before thy face, asking thee to bless this place. God defend our free land. From the century, hold the line. Everyone, please hold the line. We stand in unity. We stand in peace. We stand in love. We stand in love. We just pray. Make our country. Answer to God to defend New Zealand. He will defend us. Remember, we don't retaliate. You'll be surprised how much police
It's a really scary time for everybody. It's a really critical time of the future of New Zealand. On the one side, we have the people who are standing for truth, for justice, for freedom, and for democracy. On the other side, we have the people who we pay to represent us, who have sworn an oath to stand up for the peace. We need the people to be really brave, to be really peaceful, because this is the moment that we choose the future of New Zealand. Our future is chosen on the one hand between peace and love, and on the other hand between aggression, bullying and fear.
The arrival of the police was quite a big moment. You know, they were preparing themselves to say, your time's up, it's time to leave. You know, they weren't prepared to come and talk to us. All they were prepared to do was send out police to try and intimidate the protesters and try and get us to leave on our own.
I remember turning and facing the police and sort of saying, well, What is the problem? Why are you here? You weren't here yesterday. They kept telling us it was illegal. I don't believe it was illegal at all. Obviously, with a legal background, I'd go away and research, like, what is the law on trespass? On parliamentary grounds, it's a public place. It's a place for people to come and share their views. It's a place for freedom of speech. The right place to protest is at Parliament. Parliament's own website says that Parliament is a place for protest.
If the government breaks their own laws, it is a tyranny. We want peace, but we're not going to just roll away because there's a team of people in uniforms trying to exclude us from the People's Parliament of New Zealand.
The effect of the police coming in that day was heightened emotions. So as a result of that, of course, it became very chaotic fast. It all made sense. They knew what they were coming in to do to us. They wanted to instill fear of us. They wanted to intimidate us, bully us into leaving.
One thing that we can ask for, please, just to show that we are in peace, is all we need to do is just drop your tent. Doesn't mean to say we're going anywhere.
And you can see it from all angles. You had people trying to do the right thing and keep the police happy. When at the same time we're like, well, we're not being heard. You don't care about our jobs. You don't care about our homes, our families to support. No, it's not about going home. We're here to be heard, to make a noise the way Canada is doing. For those of us that came with the convoy to make a stand, you know, we're staying here, we're not going anywhere. People deal with traumas in different ways. In my opinion, it was going to happen. It was meant to build up, explode. We were just very lucky that day that Machu took the stage and he calmed us.
I know people have travelled from all over Aotearoa to be here, and they put in a lot of mahi, a lot of work, a lot of effort to be here. So we need to make the most of being here. We need to do our best to make this work. So we need to stay in a peaceful state today. People, can you hear me? We are free. We are a part of a world family.
One moment, everyone's crying, screaming, shouting at each other, the government, the police, everything, the media was chaos. And the next minute, he's got us all moving together as one, clicking our fingers, singing along.
Oh, 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 I can feel it go. Oh, 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 to my very soul.
We were lucky enough to have the likes of Machu, Sue Gray, bring us back to our core of why we were there. Love, peace, unity. And knowing now what happened the next day, it all made sense. They knew what they were coming in to do to us. But because we remained peaceful, we did our best to keep everyone on the same side, calm, peaceful. If people were being expressive, our own people were making sure to control that, keep them away from the front line.
Make a conscious effort from now, for the rest of the day, or for as long as we're here, stay in peace. I've listened to the news on the way in. They're trying to make us look like crazy people, but we know here that we are here because we have got love and we've got care for our children, we've got care for our people here in Aotearoa. We know why we're here.
It very much set the tone for the next day. Everyone was aware and clear on the same page that we were there for peace and love. And the media were trying to catch anything that was against that as possible, so that if we weren't able to control ourselves, you had your neighbours standing there right next to you, strangers, to keep us all calm together, holding it down, talking calmly, talking peacefully, singing. But I don't understand how they seem to think that they could get away with not sharing the full truth when social media is too big now. Everyone has a phone in their hand. We're in that time. Everyone was doing lives, sharing. And then as you talk to people, everyone knows someone that was there.
All right, guys, we're down at Parliament. We've just raced back because apparently the police have locked everyone in. They're threatening to arrest everybody. Everyone's sitting down peacefully at the moment, but we're going to try and go higher and see if we can get some full footage of it.
Someone banged on the door, the police are here, the police are here. I scramble out of bed and get up there. So I was heading up and sharing that on my live. And then I sort of went through the whole front line and went down and found myself a space to sit down. Because my thoughts were that if I wasn't doing anything wrong, then I wouldn't get arrested. If I wasn't being abusive and aggressive, then I would be fine.
You've been trespassed, ma'am, on Fuzzy Loop.
Excuse me?
You've been trespassed from Parliament Ground. We're enforcing that trespass.
Yeah, you know that that's not legal. Don't shrug your shoulders like that. Come on, you know it's not legal.
Okay. All I can say is you've been trespassed. We are going to clear Parliament Ground and hold it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that will happen.
But, okay, but are you for it?
I'll do my job.
Your job is to protect us. You know, you've taken a solemn oath. We know you took it. Your job is not to work for the government. We pay your wages, not the government. Your job is to protect us.
Anthem, can you hear that? So I'm up here basically on this ledge. There's only a couple people here, pretty much everyone is in there. So as you can see, we're on top of basically the gate. There's all the cops there.
We all just stood in a row. Some people were sitting, some people were linked arms with their backs, some people were facing forward. And we all just held on to each other while the police would push. And I kind of thought that they were just pushing to push us back, and then they would take a tent. But then they started taking people and arresting them. I was like, for what?
I'd seen further down the line people getting dragged out of the crowds, arrested. And so at first I thought, oh, they must be being abusive or naughty. But it was as people started getting ripped out close to me that I realised they were going for the ones that were having an impact on the police, making them think about why they signed up to their jobs, what we were doing there. We weren't hurting people, we were there peacefully.
We're going to be absolutely destroyed if we leave this place. If you push us out, we're going to come back in.
You know what's happening? I bet you guys have seen it. Suicide has gone through the roof.
More coming.
Suicides have gone through the roof because people are losing their jobs. And I bet you guys are the ones that see it. I bet you guys are the ones that see the effects of what's happening, don't you? You know exactly what's happening to this country. What about all the teenagers?
The sides of the teams are going to be blood on your hands, guys.
You guys see it all. We're fighting for those kids. You know, kids at school get bullied now for not having a vaccine. They get bullied. What does that do to someone? This is what we're fighting for. Show some humanity.
You're coming towards us, mate.
Come on, young lady. I know you're stressed. I can see it. You want to turn around and walk away because this is not what you were trained to do. You were trained to protect us. Come on. I know how much this is hurting you. I can see how much this is hurting you. There's tears coming to your eyes because you know this is wrong.
I know that you know these mandates are wrong. I know that you actually don't believe in them. You shouldn't be holding the line against your own citizens. You shouldn't be pushing and arresting your own citizens for something you know inside your heart is wrong. You know that little children shouldn't be mandated a jab to try and play rugby. Canada has dropped so many of their mandates. The UK has dropped their mandates, Sweden, Denmark. Why are we still protesting? Why are you fighting? You're fighting. You're fighting for a pharmaceutical company.
What you're doing, but at the end of the day, you weigh about 30 kgs each, and you're going to get squashed.
Go ahead then. If you want to do that, go ahead. We'll fight.
can't do that, you should go back.
It's up to you to watch when you put yourself on, guys. Yeah.
Look at all these people. Look at all these tents. Look how far you've come. Is this really the strategy?
You see all the people on the bridges and on the roads leaving us on its own.
50,000 more people getting their way.
I'm so mad at the media just hiding up there. It's like they couldn't even come and interview people and ask them why they're down here. The Speaker of the House said he didn't want people being spoken to. So that's the reality, right? Like all these people, they can just go home, the people in Parliament. But you've cost people their lives. It's like people have actually died. You've caused them their jobs. You've caused them their mental health. Of course they're going to stand here and be angry at you and upset at you. And the fact that not one of you can come out and speak to them just shows your lack of integrity and your lack of character. And this is every single sitting MP. None of you should be in there if you can't actually talk to the people, because you're elected by the people, for the people, not just for a specific amount of people, not just for a certain demographic that's your demographic. You should actually be listening to all the people, every single person, no matter if you agree or disagree with them, because they're allowed to be heard. See how there's a big line of cops, and then what they do is they drive in, they separate, like two of these cops will start pushing people, separate, this whole line will drive in, grab someone's legs and pull them out. Like look, no one is fighting, not one protester is fighting the police, not one of them. And the fact that they're even standing like this, pushing against people, when everyone is standing there peacefully singing the national anthem, this is wrong.
This does not need to happen.
All of a sudden, they started pushing, and this guy, it felt like he was directing everyone, looked straight at me and just goes, arrest them, and he like reached in and tried to grab me.
And that's when I got arrested, because they were coming at me from the front. They'd gone behind Jimmy, my friend, trampling on his legs, and we're just trying to hold on to each other. It just felt like they were coming from all angles.
This is all on camera. You're doing it to your own people. You're doing it to your own people.
How bad does this feel for you? We just want peace. We just want peace. We just want peace. Hey, get off of me. Get off of me. Get off of me. You can't breathe. Let go. You can't breathe. Hey, got me. You got me. Get off of me. You can't breathe. Hold it back.
When I first walked up to it and I saw the cop line, I said to myself, now or never, you know, this is the time to fight for what I believe in, and I believed that if I was going to get arrested, I was getting arrested for the right reasons, and these were the reasons I was getting arrested for the freedom of my country and for the freedom of the people that I was trying to support down there and the people that I was trying to support at home. Even the people that don't see it, you know, they might not see it yet, but hopefully one day they might see the reasons of why I went down there, and they'll realise that I actually got arrested for them too. You know, you don't really see yourself in that situation, but to know that you're doing it for something that you believe in makes it pretty easy. Once they dragged me out of the line, I just laid there on the ground, and I just hoped that everyone else that was staying behind was going to be able to hold the line.
Sort of late in the afternoon, I don't know why, I just, things had gone quiet. I chose to leave the front line, and I walked around and I came to a position where I could oversee the front line. I'm looking down on it and my mind's going crazy, trying to process what's going on, what did I just go through, what's this day all about? And then all of a sudden, the police started retiring their position. I believe that they'd realised they were going nowhere. They were not going to arrest their way out of this. They realised that our determination to stay was stronger than the amount of manpower or even will that they had at that time. And as they were retiring, the crowd started chanting, and it wasn't what you think it would be. It's not the F the police or we beat you or anything like that. The crowd started chanting over and over again, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it went on for minutes. But I bet your mainstream media never showed you that.
So we were at home watching it on live stream from like Chantel Baker, and it was so raw, it was so wrong. It was just wrong. You were able to understand that these were peaceful people with their back to the police officers, singing songs and blowing bubbles. And the police came at them, not engaging, not kind, but brutal. And you can see that clearly in the live streams.
I had texted my son during the day and said to him, if I get arrested, your nana will be in contact with you and she'll let you know what's happened. And he messaged back and went, ha ha ha, whatever mum. And then during the day went on, he'd started watching live streams and he was watching it and was like, okay, shit, mum was for real. And then finally I rang him and said, it's all over, we've won. And he's like, I can't believe what I've just watched. He's like, I never thought in New Zealand I would ever see that happening to people. And he's like, I thought you were joking.
And I think that's when the mainstream media lost a lot of people, because we could see clearly the contrast from truth, live streaming, to the edited version that they were putting on our goggle box. And I knew very well that just didn't make sense anymore. Come on. So the effect of that was that thousands of people got in their cars and came down. We had to join in. It was wrong.
So later on in that day, my mum rang me up just to check that I was okay, and she said, I just don't trust them anymore. They just don't tell the truth. I've just watched something completely different to what they are reporting. She's watched two opposing descriptions and made up her own mind. I think people like my mum came to the conclusion that what they were seeing on mainstream media wasn't the truth because of the history of what had been built up. 80,000 of us were meant to be dead. All the narrative that had gone on had actually built up distrust in media all the way through to the point where conservative female retirees are questioning mainstream media. People that have watched TV1 News their whole lives for their information are now going, something doesn't add up here.
Yeah, totally. But there's loads of stories. There's loads of chatter, and then there is what is happening. This is desperate measures from someone who obviously feels super threatened and vulnerable, and like they're going to get caught out.
Because the agreement and the contract has actually been broken with us, the people, and they're not listening. And then police. Yes, the police and the government.
So I rang my boss and I said to him, mate, I'm not coming home. I can't leave after what's happened here today. I can't leave. I couldn't go home after that. The emotion of it and the just downright wrongness of it. And if I'm really honest, not ideal setting up tents and parking in the streets, but when nobody's listening, you got to take action. And I guess, in hindsight, it did have to happen because the government was rolling over the top of us like a steamroller. So, yeah, and then the rain came. And my goodness, it was galvanising because it was almost freeing, because you looked around and you went, mate, the cops tried to beat us out of here yesterday. This is nothing. It's just a little cyclone.
Today we are here in a historic moment where the world is watching you and the stand you have taken. They underestimated us, family. They came in with tactics, drawing us from the front line, leaning their knees on the heads of our women. Just a few naughty ones. They're not all bad. But what happened when we saw that is it stoked a fire not just in Aotearoa, but in the world, that we have had enough. We are ready now to rise as one unified family across the planet to say, our bodies, our choice. No longer will we hold our children's futures ransom. No longer will they keep our babies from breathing fresh air. No longer will the mothers and the fathers stand back while they continue to roll out booster after booster. We are done. We're not leaving until these mandates lift. We're not leaving until the masks come off. We're not leaving until the tyranny is finished. And in Canada, brothers and sisters, 2 provinces already. Why? Because of a convoy just like this. You're making history now. Stay in your center. Listen to your guidance. We're ready for this. Freedom!
That protest was, we've had enough. It was people finding their voices, people finding the courage to step up, people finding a community where they felt that they belonged after they'd been isolated for 2 years. People who'd been told that they were the only person that was so stupid that was declining the vaccine, suddenly finding tens of thousands and perhaps even hundreds of thousands of other people that actually had the same concerns.
Well, we came from Auckland, we joined the convoy on Hamilton on Monday, and then we came down here to Wellington. This possibly is our, this is the big stand. We're doing well so far. Those brave people that peacefully stood against the police on Thursday. Yeah, I'm so thankful for them. I was watching on the live stream up from Auckland, and when they won the day, I was just so happy, and I just knew I was coming down the next day,
No more segregation!
Yeah, well, I was the Jacinda supporter at the beginning, you know. But when the vaccine came in, I started to do some research, and their narrative falls to bits once you start looking into it. She's divided our families. People are losing their homes and stuff. This lady just over here, she's had to give up her home. She lost her job and lost her home, so it's sad what Jacinda's done. She portrayed herself as such a nice person, and I fell for it too, but yeah, she's heartless, yeah.
Anybody been here the last few days, had a little taste of freedom? Anybody been here through the last few days, felt a little bit of connection? Anybody been here the last few days, felt just a little bit of healing? Anyone felt a little bit of love?
I think that the longer we stayed, the more obvious the problem was that we had a government that didn't respect the people, and the mandates were a symptom of the problem, but it's a much deeper problem than that. People started to question democracy. What is democracy when your own elected representatives won't come and talk to you? Like all 120 of them basically enter into a conspiracy between themselves that none of them will come and speak to the public that they're all supposed to represent. So the problem got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's now a problem of lack of democracy, lack of constitution, lack of fundamental rights and freedoms and respect for the people.
I just wanted to say to Trevor Mallard, you set the sprinkler up about a foot from my tent, and you've got all this music playing, you've got the lights shining on us at night, and I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. You've helped strengthen my resolve, and I just wanted to say, please sir, may I have some more? Love you, Trevor.
We recognise everyone here has pretty much been here for most of the week, but we just have to keep going. There's people that come from all over New Zealand to do this, and the least we can do is just, cook for them and give them some energy so we can keep standing up for our rights.
What a ball. Are you hungry? Come and get some. Get down here.
Yeah.
Bring your gumboots. How ridiculous. Let's flood them out with the sprinklers. We're a country of gumboots. You muppets.
I mean, New Zealanders are really generally very decent people, and yet we had a government that was deliberately dividing people and deliberately closing down important conversations, name-calling, abusing people, and in the end turned our own police force on our people. And that was totally cruel, illegal, inhumane, and inexcusable. And that's why it's got to change. It taught us we actually need to find ways of looking after our own futures. The government is not looking after us, and we need to stop imagining that they are.
We can make freedom, freedom, freedom. We can make for freedom, freedom, yeah, freedom. Freedom! 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 Yeah!
Okay, on to the protester in the room. Our Parliament grounds look like a trailer park crossed with Woodstock. And if torrential rain and the horrible winds of the weekend didn't drive them out, what is going to?
These people are unwelcome. They are interfering with the normal life of Wellingtonians. And you think it's a joke.
Hold on. When did I say I think it's a joke?
You're supporting them.
I've seen a lot of protesters in Wellington. When you live in Wellington, you kind of just get used to it. And this is the first time where I've seen them being ignored. And I think that's creating a little digging in mentality of that not one MP has come out.
The bigger picture here, you've got to start engaging with them. You've got to stop mocking them and making them out to be fringe minority nutbags, because they're not.
You think the police are doing a wonderful job?
They are doing a wonderful job, Dean. Do you want people hurt?
No, but I just think arrest some and then arrest some more.
Dean, start looking at it like logically. Can you remember back to Thursday when all those arrests were happening? People were coming from all over the country.
I listened to Jacinda yesterday, and please don't get me wrong, I'm double vaxxed, I voted for her, and I'm kind of ashamed now that I did. I can't stand what this has done to our country. You know what happens if we're going to be the party that governs for all New Zealanders? That's not what I'm seeing. Not at all.
What kind of leadership do you want? What kind of government? Shall we continue with the fear and the constant emergencies and the lockdowns and the mandates and all the rules that divide and isolate us? And shall we continue with the demonising and censoring of anyone who disagrees with our government? Or shall we try a new leadership, one that builds community, that brings us together and unites us?
Gloria ki te atu I runga rawa he maungarongo ki tono iwi rungi I te whenua. Gloria nui me te hone re te matua kaharoa I kunne ngā wahi katoa I nāi nei ake tonu atu. Āmene. Look at what we have created within the last 8 days, people. Set up this beautiful village, a community within a community, a city within a city, a nation within a nation, and it required no political influence, but it came from the people power and not the political power. The moment political stuff starts putting their mitts in this, they will start to segregate us, separate us, and divide us. But give yourselves a round of applause for people power over political power.
If you wanted an illustration of just what it did to people, we were in this truck and this guy who was a Wellingtonian just came and he was drawn to just look out for us. He would say, well, what do you need? Then he'd come back the next day with all these battery packs or with games for the children or everything really. You know, he said how it made a big transformation in his life. The people there were just an extraordinary mix of New Zealanders. We were so different from each other, and yet we had this common purpose, and we were united in that in a way that it's very hard to feel that sort of unity in regular daily life.
But on top of that, people, look at the environment that we have created here, an environment of aroha. Somebody say aroha. Do you know what aroha means? It means love. We've created that environment here. On top of that, we've created an environment of whakawhanaungatanga. Whakawhanaungatanga means support, supporting one another, despite your differences, your belief or your culture. Then on top of that, manaakitanga. Somebody say manaakitanga. Manaakitanga means we are all the same. We can work together in unity.
It's talking about love and truth.
A friend of mine went and saw our member for Central Auckland, Chloe Swarbrick, and Chloe tried to say, she felt frightened. She looked out the window and she saw all these hordes. And my friend just said, "You are lying." There was nothing like that at all. But they were all told by their party leaders they couldn't go and speak with us. It was just an absolute failure of any kind of proper representation.
And that is true.
At the front of this place, there are people who I think we all feel for. There are some people who are confused, there are some people who are scared, there are some people who have been manipulated by an avalanche of misinformation. There are some people who have been hurt over the past couple of years and they're lashing out, and we feel for those people. But underneath all of that, Madam Speaker, there is a river of filth. There is a river of violence and menace. There is a river of anti-Semitism. There is a river of Islamophobia. I would say, Madam Speaker, that there is a river of genuine fascism in parts of the event that we see out the front of this Parliament today. And I just urge colleagues in this House to not give succour and comfort to an emergent and dangerous far-right movement.
Michael Wood. I think he was doing that to just cause more divide and more hate, just to upset those watching the TV.
Everyone say Aotearoa. That's another word for beautiful. That was lovely. Okay, whānau, let's have another hug, please. Turn to some people, have 3 hugs.
But it didn't really work like that. I think it got people more determined that we are not the river of filth. We're caring, we're kind, we're loving. We just want someone to come out and talk to us for freedom, for mandates to drop, vaccine passes to stop, and for children to be able to go back to living a life of being kids.
So whānau, it's amazing that you've all made your way here. I just want to honour everybody for being here. For me, when I arrived, I looked at what I could do to support, and I ended up holding this microphone for 9 days. And that's something that I'm comfortable to do, and it's a privilege and an honour. For me, that's how I can help. So for all of us here, I really feel it's a matter of tuning into your kete of wisdom, your skills, and finding your place in this space.
Why can't you see the same as me? If we play the game of this rock race, is this normal?
Some people, it might be working in the first aid. Some, it might be giving midi massages to heal us and keep us in good shape. Some people, it might be offering yoga like they will be doing 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So, whānau, I want you to look for your space, finding how you can best offer your energy to this kaupapa.
Democracy isn't going to work unless you agree. It's open discussion, and yes, you're still not going to agree or disagree on all the matters, but at least you're actually listening to everyone. And so him saying river of filth and trying to make people hate is pretty disgusting, really.
Enough is enough.
One of the biggest things that kept us together was the music. When you're moving together and you're singing together and you're just on the same frequency together and you just become unbreakable.
Call me a dreamer, a goddamn believer, with no inner side. There's another fight in front of us. We want freedom, give us our freedom. We're here to love and rise above. Enough is enough.
They didn't know we could do this. And I'm so happy to see everybody coming together. And as we get more and more unity and people get braver at speaking out and sharing their stories, we're learning that the things that we've been going through were not just us, but they were shared by each other. We're doing it with love, aroha. We're doing it with unity. We're doing it by creating the world that we want. And it's going to take every single one of us, because every single one of us have got a piece of the puzzle to create the future that we want. And I'm just wondering how much it's helping our mental health to be able to be together and feel like we are part of something so much bigger than ourselves.
One of the great examples of people power and unity was the 7 ladies that went to prison. There was around about 120 people got arrested on that first Thursday, and these 7 ladies collaborated and they wouldn't sign their bail conditions, and that meant the police put them into a women's prison for the weekend, and that turned out to be one of the very best things that they possibly could have done, because in the end this unbreakable 7 ended up being thrown out onto the streets by the police because they were obviously not going to change their minds. And because they did that, all 120 people that were arrested on that first Thursday, all of them had their bail conditions dropped because the judge had no choice.
Holding the line, do not sign, was our mantra. And I tell you guys, we could not have done that without 7 of us. There's something magic about 7. Every single one of us did something along that journey of 5 days in our incarceration that kept us strong, kept us together, and helped us to do the job that we were here to do, which is to make change in our country and to be heard.
And whilst they were there, they were in different cells, and they used music to keep their spirits up, to keep their unity. They're standing firm, they're not giving in to something they haven't done, and then to use the singing as a way to endure it and to not lose hope just showed how they were able to find a way to be powerful together, even though the police had done everything they could to divide them.
You can shove those flipping devils up your ass. You can shove those flipping veil phones, shove those flipping veil phones, shove those flipping devils up your ass. 'Cause we will keep on camping on the grass. We will keep on camping on the grass. We will keep on camping, keep on camping, keep on camping on the grass. We can shove Jacinda's mandates up her ass. We can shove Jacinda's mandates up her ass. We can shove Jacinda's mandates, shove Jacinda's mandates, shove Jacinda's mandates up her ass.
You know, none of us were professional protesters. Most of us had never protested a day in our lives. So for those ladies to come together in that way, it's either instinct or it's intellect. And then when they're out, they're going to have those bail conditions dropped for 120 people. That's a heck of a slap in the face. But that's what unity does. If they'd stayed on their own, they couldn't have achieved that. But together, they were powerful. In fact, together, they won.
The right side of history that lasts. We'll be the heroes of history with us. We're on the right side of history. You're on the right side of history. The heroes of history with us.
So I have been a registered vaccinator, so I'm not anti-vaccine at all. I saw the value of it, and I was really proud of being a registered vaccinator because I had to have a degree in nursing, which was 3.5 years training, and then you had to then go and do the vaccination certificate, and you were always really encouraged within that course that it was about informed consent. So I would explain to the mothers that nothing's without risk, but what I'm doing here is perhaps giving your child better odds. And I then had to print a consent form and get the mum to sign to say, you are okay to do that to my baby. So where are we? We're at
The appeals court.
the appeals court in Wellington, right opposite the protest right now where we're fighting for these mandates to be removed. And the first line on the wall states every person has the right not to be subjected to medical or scientific experimentation without that person's consent. Look at it.
That's the Bill of Rights.
Yeah. Is that the Bill of Rights?
That's on the Bill of Rights.
What I would like to say is that I became aware that what was occurring wasn't informed consent, and I can't stand for that, because that's my trade. It's about informed consent. So noting that Jacinda was coercing people into taking this vaccine by, if you don't do it, I'm going to stop you working, I'm going to stop your kids playing sport. It's blatant coercion, and I'm not okay that that's the New Zealand that this is evolving into.
And you've lost your job over this too?
Lost my job? And I gave it away. I can't play in that sandpit. It's given me great joy, nursing, and so to have that removed took away that joy. And I've pushed through, and I've really connected with this cause, and I've met some beautiful people, and it's helped me. And the full circle irony of this is that coming here has given me a job in the medical tent. And I'm so goddamn proud. Like, I feel me again. It's so cool.
You get to wear a New Zealand flag to work now.
Look at my uniform. Upside down, by the way.
Why is it upside down?
Because we're in a state of distress, can't you see? I feel it here. The Wairua is strong, the people are waking up, and we're on the right side of this. We've been told we're the minority, and we're idiots, and we're anti-vaxxers, and we're tinfoil hat wearers, but nah, that's not what this is, man. I always thought that I was just here to get the mandates removed and give us freedom of choice again. But in the last couple of days, it's become very clear to me that instead of engaging with us and listening and caring about what we're saying, they're pulling our hair and putting scriptures on our women and children. And I don't want these people leading us anymore. If these people can hear the fact is you're hurting our babies, and yet they don't care, yeah.
So quite often in the village there came times where we would hear whispers that the police were coming or the riot police were coming, and we needed to be alert to them trying to come and take over. And so I was on night shift, and so I hear there were police at the top, and so we are running through. This is 3 a.m, and we start running through the village, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. I had no voice the next day. There was just a whole lot of us with, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? I couldn't comprehend what I was looking at. I couldn't understand what I was looking at. I couldn't relate to what I was looking at.
Hold the line! Down here! Down here! Hold the line! Hold the line! Hold the line! Hold the line!
Excuse me.
Hey, here we go. Friday, here we go. The third. Listen to us, put them on document. Document them. That's right.
Remember who you are.
That's right.
Just push this man.
Document them.
Nobody's fighting. Nobody's fighting.
Someone film it.
Police my consent.
Get it on film.
Police my consent. I do.
Get it all on film, bro.
What are you guys doing? What are you doing? What are you doing here?
They're blocking every single entrance with big concrete blocks. I mean, they're not advancing, they're going to go to the next one first. That's what they'll do. They're working one at a time. So they'll be going to that one next. Police Commissioner's obviously decided to follow Canada's route instead.
Hold the line, means turn your back and link your arms. Turn your back. Hold your line, means turn your back and link your arms together.
Don't engage! Don't engage!
Peaceful people.
Can you please do a recap for those that just joined in? Yeah, sure, hun. So see these trucks and that forklift? They've been going around every single road putting blockades in like this, right around Parliament. Apparently they've said that there might be a state of emergency. But look, the people, without any of their own security or whatever, have made peaceful blockades back from the police. It's not like everyone's running at the police. No one's armed. Where is the state of emergency? The only emergency is Jacinda's lack of compassion for her own people.
What do you think they're actually doing, Sue?
They're just trying to isolate us.
Relax, people, relax.
So what is the objective, Chantal? That's a good point. It looks like they are just trying to block the roads, allowing like a little gap for in and out so that people don't keep parking over the road. However, I can't confirm that.
People up there.
Oh shit. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh jeez. Oh no, this is turning into a mess.
You're not pushed back, you're not afraid. Everybody breathe, hold back. It's okay, you're simply stopping extra cars coming in. They have been asking for a long time for cars to allow access. They are simply stopping extra cars coming in, so don't get stressed. Calm down. Actually, Muriel didn't do your job, right?
Did you tell the people, Leighton?
We haven't
Why
done
did
it.
you tell us what's
no
happening?
clue. Only telling you what's going on, alright? If you don't know the message, that's fine. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm simply telling you what's happening. That's all I'm doing.
You made the agreement that this was okay?
I didn't make the agreement. They told us this was going to happen.
And you told nobody?
I did. I told the leadership team, but I should have come down and been more vocal earlier. That's what I did wrong.
We all should have known about it, brother.
I get that. I totally get that on this one.
Do you get that?
Apologising.
I understand.
It's not the police's fault, okay? I'm going to tell you how it happened, people, so you actually understand from the horse's mouth. For the last week, the police have been asking us, can we clear a lane? People are saying, I'm not moving, that's their right as free individuals. Unfortunately, what that does is makes it too hard for the police to get any leeway with us, right? And it's not the police's fault, it's the fault of the people in Parliament. Because they refuse to come down and talk, and they call us names, and they call us scum, and they call us a river of filth, and they call us neo-Nazis. But because the police have made no leeway, they have said we have to block the entrances to stop more cars coming in. So you can still leave if you want, but you will not be able to bring more cars in because they need the road space. And conflict is a result of them not doing the job. It's not the police's fault, it's not everyone else's fault, it's their fault because they won't come down and actually talk. And all they're paid to do is talk to us, aren't they? All they're paid to do is represent you and and they refuse to come down and have a decent conversation. I can't...
I know some people have lovely stories to tell about the police, but for me, there wasn't a willingness from them to engage with us and help us come out the other side of this. So we marched into Parliament grounds and we sat there and we wanted at that moment to have a dialogue with Parliament, but there was never an engagement with us. We learnt that pretty quick. No one was interested. So then what we saw in the behaviour of the police was an extension of that. As a nurse working in an emergency department, police used to be my colleagues, and we together worked through making things better for people. That's what they were about. But I came across a completely different police officer in that environment. There wasn't a willingness from them to engage with us and help us come out the other side of this. They've got a job to do and it's not to talk to you. And it was mind games. It was wake everybody up at 3 a.m. to keep them fatigued. They were trying to make us tired. They were trying to confuse us, trying to make us weak. And this has been really, really hard to understand. They were an extension of Parliament, and I didn't know that the police worked for Parliament. I thought they worked for us.
Morning Wellington, Facts or not facts, welcome. I, Optimus Prime, calling you to unite and end the mandate. Morning Wellington.
I'm a kaitiaki of the peace, of love. I come here humbly to help us come together with unity and love and the frequency that we want to set for the day. We have an amazing opportunity here to step into the frequency of love and togetherness, what we're really creating here. The opportunity that we have in this space is to create the world that we want to see going forward. Breathe in, Aroha. Breathe in, community. Exhale, exclusion. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya.
It's beautiful that we can start our day with different karakia from different faiths and beliefs. So I just want to acknowledge how far we've come with all of our different religions and beliefs and stories and groups that we're representing, and here we are. Was anybody on site and got woken up a bit abruptly this morning? Okay, so the karakia that we've been doing is to help settle our nervous system, because that's a bit of a rough way to start the day, eh?
I want to pass on the message of peace, and I've heard lots of that during this whole 2 weeks, and I'm really encourage you to do that. The ruling class up there are so out of touch, and those comments about this being a river of filth and we're anti-Semites and Islamophobes and all that rubbish just shows how out of touch that they really are. I want to also say to you that I used to be a policeman, and I have a son that's in the job. I know there are policemen that came down from up north that are anti the mandates, but they are doing their job on the other side, but they are dead against the mandate. So I can tell you that's a fact. So I really want to say to you, the peacefulness that I have seen, I want to encourage that. As far as I'm concerned, we've already won this, regardless of what happens. I can tell you that the police, you know, they're closing in, I get that. What we do is we just avoid getting arrested. They'll eventually probably start encircling us. There's probably undercovers amongst you there. Don't worry about it. What I'm saying to you is they're just doing their job and they're using their tactics. We don't want to fight them. We've made our point. And I'm not saying go home. I'm just saying we have won this already. If I ever thought of a reason, a cause to fight for, it's body autonomy and our own basic human rights. We are on the right side of this. Keep up the good fight. It's awesome to be here, and I encourage you all. Thank you very much.
So this period of time was a bit disconcerting for me because I'd been there for the first week or so, and then I'd had to come home to do some personal business. And while I was away, watching the news was very surreal because what I was seeing on the news and what I was actually experiencing when I was on the grounds was poles apart.
I don't think there was a fair and balanced approach by the media at all. I think we saw that on that very first Thursday where Chantal was streaming a live stream of exactly what was happening, and the media bulletin was shots from what they took from some distance away with them giving their opinion on it. And they were two totally different stories. That's the trouble. If they were the same story told slightly differently, that's fine, but it wasn't.
They had a definite way that they wanted to portray those at the protest and to twist things to such a point that it appeared that way in their narrative.
You know, they were calling us the river of filth, you know, white supremacists, about everything under the sun, just to try and make us look bad, trying to tell us that there was rubbish everywhere and trying to say that people were flushing their toilet compartments into the middle of the streets and into the sea, which definitely wasn't true.
They were saying some nasty things, you know, things like you can't walk through there with a mask because you will get harassed. And so I put that to the test and I walked through Parliament and all I got was people looking at me smiling. I was really disappointed. I was hoping that someone would have a go at me so I could turn around and then say, you are the type of person that mainstream media is zoning in on and making us look bad. You need a different approach. But it never happened.
Yeah, when we talk reporting, I mean, the other really interesting part was the helicopter trip. Someone had offered to sponsor a helicopter so Chantal could do a flyover both what was happening in Wellington and what was happening in Picton. So they did the flyover of the Wellington protest and then they landed to change choppers to go over to Picton, and basically the pilot got told, no, you're not. You know, we've got the disinformation project that goes around saying, oh, these are all misinformation people. Well, actually, that we were stopped from people getting all the information themselves. Government officials would not allow the people in New Zealand to see the whole story.
The helicopter pilot has just had a call from the senior sergeant of the police requesting that we no longer fly. Why are they not wanting to show what's really going on there? I'm asking you, Senior Sergeant, what are you trying to suppress?
We use the term gaslighting, but to me it was even more malicious than that. There was that case with Phil being eye gouged. It's quite obvious to see how that went down, yet it was portrayed by the media that it was his fault. Well, if standing there voicing your opinion justifies a police officer going for your eyes, it's disturbing. I mean, for an officer to do such an act like that, that is filth. It's very hard to rationalise that with how the media portrayed that. Where's the news reporting on when things haven't gone right from the police side of it? Why is that being kept suppressed?
All around here now, they've closed that off.
Well, can you just tell us what's going on? They've come to move the bollards and they're just going to move the bollards and they'll clear off. We're just here protecting our ground.
And so, what's happened to you in the past?
There was a bit of a clash at the Portaloos a couple of days ago. One rogue officer attacked me, unprovoked. He was one officer. There were other officers there. They had the shields like these guys. They did not attempt to harm anyone. They just pushed them back. They were just doing their job. One rogue officer, that's all.
And so what do you suffer?
As you can see, quite a bit of damage to my eye socket.
So there was a sense that, yes, we were going to be removed from here, but I think the importance then became of getting our stories out.
You know, they were just average people, but they all had a story to tell of whether they'd been alienated from their families or they'd had to give up work or they'd been sacked, and their testimony was being ignored. And that's very, very dangerous when you ignore people giving their testimony, which is, this is what happened to me, and you're saying we don't care or we don't believe you or so what. And that's something really healing when you find out, actually, it's not just me. It's actually happened to a lot of other people with the same story. And part of that healing was the fact that they were being listened to, and that was a beautiful thing. You know, we were hearing each other's pain, but also sharing dreams of each other for the future. What does it look like for us as a nation going forward? Because what Wellington showed us is, despite all our differences, our cultural differences, racial differences, our economic differences, we all could work together for a better nation, and it was showing that it was achievable, and the secret was allowing people and encouraging people to work to their strengths.
Mum, were you on the side of peace and love? Dad, were you on the side of peace and love? Granddad, were you on the side of peace and love?
So now with 2 lines of law, they can't just pick them up and work them. How do you get one?
That's it. This is some great news. This is some great news. Some of you will know and you'll be aware that the Defence Force and the police have been under the vaccine mandate, and they have been challenging this in the courts. Well, I'm proud to say that we've just received confirmation that the Wellington High Court has today ruled that this order made by the government is an unjustified limitation on fundamental human rights. That's it. Give it up a shout. And the courts have ruled that the order is illegal and have struck it down, removing the mandate. Give it up for a policeman. Give it up for New Zealand Defence Force. They have ruled it illegal and they have struck down the mandate. This is a major, major victory, not only for the NZDF and police staff affected, but this is a victory for all New Zealanders. Let's pray and believe that this is going to be the first domino of a major domino effect that's going to go right throughout the country to say, end these stupid mandates. No more mandates. No more mandates. No, that's it.
It actually was about freedom of speech, because what happened is those people came there with a voice and with a story to tell, and they were told, no, you can't speak, we're not going to hear it, and we won't have you share your story. We must maintain the ability for free speech, because without it, we're stuffed. It's the history of the world, it's nothing new. Without it, any totalitarian dictator can come along and control what you do, what you say, what you're allowed to think, what you're allowed to share, and eliminate those talk or say differently. And so it absolutely was the ability of people to have free speech and share, and they got to do that outside of the mainstream media and outside of government. They still managed to have their free speech and have it heard.
For the past 2 years, so many New Zealanders have sat and wondered what on earth is going on, what is our government doing to us in this country, and finally we're having the opportunity to have that conversation, and it's just been met with absolute silence from the other side. But worse than that, as you will hear from some of these people here, when you do try and speak up at the moment in this country, you are met with not just criticism, you are met with abuse, you are insulted, you are told that you're full of misinformation and that you're dangerous. And all of these things are just simply unacceptable in a democracy and in now 2022.
Rory had his first Pfizer shot on the 5th of November. He complained of a heart flutter that night. After this, he didn't complain about his heart for days and was more worried about the awful headaches he was experiencing.
I received my first dose of the Pfizer vaccine on the 27th of August 2021, and since then I've experienced 6 months of ongoing pain, cognitive impairment, and a swarm of adverse reactions.
On the 17th of November, Rory was unable to sleep as he had a strange feeling in his chest. He was concerned and we agreed to head to the hospital. Seconds later, I heard Rory drop to the floor in our bathroom and he let out an excruciating and disturbing sound as he fell. His body was blocking the door and I couldn't get to him. I could see through the crack of the door that my 26-year-old fiancé was dying.
Onset of these symptoms happened within 2 to 3 days of the vaccine. It exploded on the 6th day, and subsequently over the weeks and months since, I have had several extremely bad flare-ups, I have worked my whole life. I have paid my taxes, and I have been a law-abiding citizen of New Zealand. Where there is risk, there must be choice. And if a government opts to remove that choice, they therefore must be liable to compensate those whose lives they have so grievously affected.
It's really difficult to know what to say.
Not alone, there's so many of us like this.
I know, and that's one of the things I wanted to say, is that it's what you're one person speaking on the screen, but you represent so many.
We eventually got the result that Rory had died from vaccine-induced myocarditis, swelling of the heart, and pericarditis, swelling of the fluid or sac around the heart. Since going public, I've had messages every few days about other deaths, and I don't believe we will ever know the true damage that has occurred. Because of the division this vaccine has caused, I've lost friends and family over Rory's death, as they'd consider me an anti-vaxxer. If Rory had died in a car crash or a hunting accident, I would be surrounded by love and support. Instead, most people feel too awkward to talk about Rory and his death because of the controversy surrounding the subject.
This is how the narrative has made people so irrational. I really want people to understand we have to build a bridge. We have to be sympathetic to everybody in this conversation. There aren't sides, there are shades.
A lot of people here have lost something that's driven them to come here. Have you lost anything?
I absolutely loved helping my community, and makes me a bit sad. I loved being a firefighter. It was like I'd found a real passion and a calling since having my children. I only joined like a few years ago, but I became a driver and a qualified firefighter, and that has been taken away from me, and I've even been made to feel like it's my fault that I can't help my community because I'm making a personal choice about a medical procedure that I'd rather not have, or at least wait to see, you know, what the results say about that. And that just feels like I've lost a piece of myself. So yeah, I have lost stuff. My children, I've watched them lose stuff.
Why are you here? What has brought you here?
I'm about to lose my job. I'm on my last couple of weeks of vacation, you know, and I've had some sick leave and everything, you know, and I reckon I'll be booted out any day now. And
so the mandates mean that you're going to be out of a job?
Yes, absolutely. And at least 4 of my children have lost their jobs. One of my daughters, she's a dental assistant, she's lost her job. One of my boys, he worked at McDonald's, he's lost his job. My youngest son, he actually works somewhere where they make the masks. He's also lost his job, although he was jabbed once and he didn't like it one bit, but they didn't care. They said just roll up your sleeve. And a week later he had to go to hospital because there's something wrong with his heart rhythms.
I'm self-employed, so I'm not mandated, but I have many friends and family who have taken the vaccine purely out of coercion because they have had no choice. Because if they don't take it, they have no way to feed their kids. They have no way to pay their rent, to pay their mortgage. This is the most emotional place I've ever been in my whole life. And it's beautiful, it really is. The spirit here, the mana, so genuine, and we're all here for a common cause, and that is for the future of our great nation.
Yeah, I'm here because I had a family friend, a man I've known since he was in diapers. His name was Dorian. He got his first vaccination, he felt very unwell. He was terrified about getting his second one. He got the second one, he didn't turn up for work one day, and my auntie drove down the road to try and find him. She found him dead on the road next to his bicycle.
My grandmother, she got injured after her first vax. She's had angina attacks for 10 years, and just before the vaccine, just before she got her vax, actually, she didn't have any angina attacks for 2 years. She got her first vax and her angina attacks came back, and after her second vax, 4 weeks later, she had a triple bypass and needed a heart pacer.
Now, since they've come up with all these vaccines for children, I have an 8-month-old son, and I love him with all my heart. Here's why I am here today, to try and put a stop to all of this. And all the people here standing together is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my entire life. And I would like to turn and say something to the police. Any one of you that want to take off your jacket and join us, you will find nothing but love from all the people. That's all I have to say.
The other thing I wanted to say, which I think is not being heard out there, we're hearing all sorts of stories about the protesters and the protest, but I promise you, if we'd held this event down in the middle of the protest, you would have heard a pin drop. These stories, being open-minded and listening, this is what that protest is about. They want to be heard and they want to listen.
Is heartless the wrong word? It's almost like they don't want to hear. The mandates were pure evil. They've tried to drive us apart. People say, oh, you got a choice. But to make that choice meant that you had to abandon people. You had to give up your career. You had to give up your means of income. The sense of why? Why would someone put me in this position? And then you've trusted your government. You've trusted your doctor, and suddenly you're left alone. No support, and told you're a hypochondriac, told you're overreacting, it's your imagination. That's a level of psychopathy that we've never experienced, and I think that's what is the dissonance that people are feeling. The last day, what can you say about the last day, man? I'd done night security down on the bottom gate. And we knew that something was going to happen. You know, there'd been discussions about it all night.
March the 2nd, everyone was tired. They had pushed people to their edge because the police had been waking people up at early hours of the night.
I actually was so exhausted because I knew that it was happening. My friend rang me up the night before and was like, get your vehicle out of there. The cops are coming in and they're taking vehicles. And I was just like, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to stay.
It was just like, enough is enough. Here's the line in the sand. And what else are we supposed to do? Media won't listen. Politicians won't listen. No one's prepared to discuss an open debate. What are we left with that doesn't turn into total anarchy? And it's a sense of just standing in solidarity.
I got up, brushed my teeth, put some clothes on, walked around, nothing was happening. I went and lied down, and I just lied down with my door open in my car thinking, I'll hear the noises. And then, 10 to 6, the noises started.
So they've got a chopper there and 2 forklifts. And this is a crazy excessive amount of police. Paramedics here, so I think there might be a bit of a scuffle. Heaps of mainstreaming here. Like we said before, they always get tipped off by the police before anything big happens. What is that? Again though, how insane is this? We've got choppers, we've got hundreds of police everywhere, and Jacinda can't even come out and address the concerns of her citizens. So basically it's 2 classes, either you agree with her or you don't agree with her, and that's what dictates 2 classes.
Occupiers of Aitken Street, this is the New Zealand Police.
Which way?
This street is now closed under the Policing Act. You now need to leave.
Where's your paper?
Fail to comply or obstruction of police may result in your arrest.
I'm aware that when they moved in, there was psychology in even the noise they made, like that move, move, move. They wanted to have the worst impact they could on us. I remember the sheer terror in myself that if I didn't move right now, I'm going to get very hurt.
Street, this is the police. You need to leave this area. Aitken Street is now closed under the Policing Act.
We started walking up the road to see what was going on, and ahead of me you could see this big line-up of police, and you could see there was a lot of them all the way up Hill Street.
Supposedly there was 1,000 cops coming. Also, I remember being out on the road when they just came smashing, running down the road towards everyone, and the few people that were up there on that street were running towards us as the police were running after them, and that was a scary scary time.
They came for a fight, yelling, move, 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 hitting anybody that they came across with their shields. And those shields are hard, I can tell you, because I got hit 3 times by them.
They turned up with riot gear and tear gas and pepper spray and batons and shields and masks and sound guns and rubber bullets, and we had nothing. And I was watching them and just watching them be brutal, just running over people. Like, they weren't even trying to arrest people, they were just running over them, just full force.
They were intent, they were coming through. This time there was a total different atmosphere. It was almost like they'd been told, you do whatever you have to do. You know, the first line we had, you could stand and talk with the police. This time, this was going to happen. They were going to push us out. It was a military operation as far as I'm concerned. To me, this whole thing almost seemed to be about how far can we push it. One of the aspects, they introduced new types of pepper spray. You had police officers using fire extinguishers, sound guns, the LRAD units. Who knows what the capabilities of these things are? They're a military weapon. They create anxiety. It was a real testing ground for use of these weapons, and they are weapons, and I think we're going to see them used a lot more.
So it was just this sad feeling of watching these police hurt people, and there was nothing we can do. It was just about supporting each other through that, because it was so hard to just turn around and accept defeat when what the police were doing was even worse than what we thought was taking place in our country. Because we thought it was just the media lying and the government lying and people being given false information, and to actually see the police brutalising people that they knew had been peaceful. So they'd seen it with their own eyes that the people had been peaceful, and they still moved in and attacked.
Open your eyes, bro. There's only a way it's going to come out.
Hey, officers, the judge and your union revoked the mandates that were illegal. They revoked the mandates, which meant, why isn't our mandates revoked? So your mates can now return back to work because the judge found it to be illegal. So you are enforcing an illegal legislation that we're still bound by. I've lost my job, I've lost my business. So you're not our enemy, you're not our enemy. But you're going to make a choice. Those ones above you are not the ones that are standing on this front line, it's you guys. So be with us, stand with us. But we're going to hold our line, because it's our human right to protest. It's our right to be here, to get your center, to listen to the people that you're meant to serve, protect and uphold the peace. But you're enforcing and pepper spraying and brutally dragging our people. That's not right. I'm speaking to your heart. I know you got a heart. Because we ain't going nowhere until Jacinda listens and until the mandates are revoked, like the police and the military. If they can revoke that, every other mandate is illegal.
What are you going to tell your children in 10 years' time? Are you going to tell them that you went in with riot gear against unarmed people? Is that what you're going to tell them? Because my conscience is clear. I can look my children in the eye. My children can't go to a library. My children can't go to a swimming pool. My children can't even go to bloody therapy. Peace and love, 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 peace and love.
Your thoughts that violence will cure this problem is completely wrong. You might temporarily silence us, but I'm telling you now, the New Zealand public that are in favour of these protests are much, much greater in number than you. And if you think that you win this battle today and we're going to stop talking, you've got another thing coming. Look at the people in front of you, sister. Do we look like we're fringe? We're not fringe. We represent every strata of New Zealand society. Wake up. The people are speaking to you, all of you. You're not gonna win by being violent. Yeah. What have you done to the beautiful country I was raised in? I was raised in the best country in the world. Now what have we got? We've got tyranny. We've got lack of freedom. We can't say what we want to say. Remember when she said, they are us? Us. We are no longer part of the us. I want to say to all you protesters, do not be discouraged. Hold the line. No great battle ends without a greater battle beginning. This is a clarion call to all of you, my friends. We need to rise to the occasion, stand up, be courageous, don't give in to the nonsense, don't give in to the tyranny. I say this to all the protesters. God bless you. Jesus is our sure hope. He stands for the truth, and the truth sets us free.
The police look tired as. How are they tired? They're actually not that tired. These people have been here for 21 days. The police have gone home to showers and food, and they've known the plans of what's happening. None of these people have. They've been kept in this eternal state of stress and fear and anxiety, and then woken up at all times of the day by police who know what are going on. So I do not feel like the police are that tired. These people are tired, and the fact they're still standing here peacefully and bravely says a whole lot about their strength of character. Oh look, here we are. They're going, they're running in. They're running in as well, grabbing people. Look, they're all running in. There's police everywhere now. They're tear gassing everyone. People are screaming everywhere. Ripping everyone's stuff out. People are freaking out, obviously. People are scared. Keep in mind, everyone, this is happening because Jacinda refuses to acknowledge the fact that she was wrong about the mandates helping prevent the spread. She refuses to acknowledge that we're all citizens of the country. In her own words, she wants two classes of people.
You are not a Kiwi. Kiwis don't do that to each other. People want their jobs back. People want their jobs back. People want their jobs back. You're not doing your job. We believe in our freedom. We believe in our rights. We believe in our people. Get out, run!
Jacinda Ardern, this is what you've created. Mainstream media, guys. You wanted this, right? You wanted this. You wanted to portray the protesters as dirty people. Did you get your wish? Are you happy, mainstream media? Is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted for your citizens, mainstream media? Because you made this animal.
I think I'm just gutted because of what was destroyed.
To stand there and experience being pepper sprayed, having to put in earplugs because of the sound waves they were using, it was scary. You couldn't even believe it was reality.
You know, they had a job to do. I'm not saying they didn't, and it was finishing that day one way or the other. But it broke my heart that it had come to this. I saw my mates getting fire extinguishers sprayed on them. I saw the aggression of the police, and watching it getting torn apart was just really heartbreaking.
They raided us at night time. They wore us down mentally, physically, on purpose to be able to attack. On that day, we had no weapons, and yet they were charging at us with shields, bodysuits, as though we were coming at them with bombs and guns. And so yes, there were people that retaliated, but nowhere near in the way they came at us.
It definitely didn't have to be violent. And I think if the government had the humility to listen to the people that actually pay them, then they could have ended it peacefully. But they didn't want to talk, they didn't want to listen. They just continued to ridicule, mock and demonise the people that were there. So it was their choice to make it end violently.
What I saw was the government creating this narrative about people, calling them a river of filth, and they're using the media to perpetuate that hate. Not once were these protesters running towards the police. It was only ever the police moving forward on them. And that's the side of the story that didn't get shown.
You know, and you've got to start to question, why didn't the media want to engage? There was nothing stopping them from coming down and having a kōrero with us. But instead what you saw on the mainstream media was the police officers laden with protective gear as if they were going to war. We weren't war. We weren't there to battle. We were standing with our backs to the police officers.
What we've got is a government that's got no respect for the people that they're supposed to represent. And we had a police commissioner who acknowledged that there would be violence if the police moved in, and who acknowledged that it was a peaceful protest, and yet somehow got convinced to attack the people of New Zealand.
I think the former Prime Minister's legacy is division. First, you dehumanise them, so you give them another label. You know, they're hysterical, they're violent, they're anti-vaxxers, they're anti-mandators, but not that they're uncles, fathers, husbands, dads, cousins. You know, you dehumanise them and then you can treat them as something totally different. And that's just another tactic the media used. And it's just sad that they use it and they know they're using it and they're proud of it. That's what is a bit scary, really.
I think the optimist in me says that as time goes on, people are going to see what happened, and more people will wake up, because we're in the information age. None of this stuff's going to go away. You can't bury it in the archives. It's not a pile of old newspapers. It's there forever. And this is the first time it's happened globally. So maybe this is the point in history where it can't be forgotten, and we can learn and we can bring about change. And I think that's how it'll be remembered.
This protest was about freedom of speech, about us being able to express our concerns. A healthy society has to have some voice of opposition, even if it's just the brakes to slow things down, to say, come on, let's just have a look at this. It's healthy. When we get divergence of thoughts, we get to explore new ways of thinking. And through new ways of thinking, new solutions come up that benefit both sides, because we have to work together to come up with a solution.
Freedom of speech is your first freedom to go. Once you lose freedom of speech, all your freedoms will go. Freedom of speech is basically the barrier to the loss of the rest of your freedoms. And if people want the ability to challenge something that a government's doing, they have got to fight for freedom of speech.
And, you know, we really have no choice. If we just carry on doing what we've always done, we'll keep getting more of lack of democracy and the squashing of people's spirit. Everything we love about New Zealand is at stake. Everything about humanity and being a human being in a community is at stake. Everything we thought was just our birthright is at stake. It's all up for grabs.
I can see why the government wanted to destroy it. It would have been quite threatening to them. There was a village, there was roads, there was medic tents, there was sound tents, there was places to go and get clothing, there was food tents. And then for the next 3 weeks, everyone lived together, all different races, all different walks of life, all different classes. Yeah, all the desperation was gone. Doesn't matter what you look like or where you come from, you're all the same. And to be part of that is so amazing. To see that New Zealand can be that way. To see that Kiwis can band together when they really, really need to.
We know democracy isn't about prime ministers dividing people. And we know an MP's job is not to incite hatred. Nor is it the media's job to gaslight us or the police's job to attack us. And we know there is no single source of truth, and democracy and freedom of speech is not about silencing speech. It's about allowing all voices to be heard. But maybe this wasn't about any of that. Maybe it was never about a virus and mandates and passports and locking people out. Maybe this was about change. And maybe it's actually them that's fighting to keep their positions of control and power in an age when information and truth is the property of us all. And maybe they're losing. So perhaps when we turned our backs, we were actually turning them on the gaslighting and the corruption and the division. And maybe from this rubble, we walked away and began building a new way, one that values truth and community and freedom of speech. And maybe one day they'll realize we're gone and they'll come and join us. Maybe that's what we came here for.
Come in peace, come in peace, come in peace. This message we teach. Love and compassion is the core of our vision. Yes, love and compassion, compassion, compassion is the core of our vision. We are here, we are here, we are here. We are making loud noises. love and compassion, compassion, compassion is the core of our vision. We are making loud noises. We are here, we are here, we are here, 'cause we have choices. And we are waiting. Make no mistake. Yes, we're awake. Make no mistake.